I'm Michael Moore, and this is Rumble.
¿De dónde son ustedes? ¿Y tú?
Guatemala.
No llores. Vas a llegar con... Mira, ella te va a explicar y te va a ayudar. ¿Cierto, Consul?
¿Qué va a pasar con su consulado?
Papá.
Yo
Ay, con mi tía por lo menos porque después llegue mi mami.
¿Me puedes abrir ahí me cerró la puerta esa?
Algo que me venga a traer mi tía para llevarme a la
Ella llama a tu tía si tú tienes número y habla con tu tía.
Tengo el número de
Ah, pues ahorita ella te ayuda para que hables. Cálmate nada más.
No, papá.
Voy por aquí, niña.
Papá.
Cuando saquen la comida.
Ay, no, papá. Ay, no, papá. Voy a llamar a mi tía para que después de comer me venga a recoger.
Cuando agarren la comida yo voy a venir para que le...
Ay, no, papá. Tengo el número yo de memoria, 34, 34. Ay, no, papá.
¿Dónde quedó su mami? ¿Dónde se quedaron sus papás, su mamá? ¿Viene con papá usted? ¿Y usted viene con mamá? ¿Y su mamá también?
Yo vengo con papá. Voy a llamar al menos a mi tía para que me venga a recoger. Ay, no, papá. Y después para que llegue mi mami lo más pronto posible. No, claro, con papá. Claro, con papá.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody.
Heaven on earth, we need it now. I'm sick of all of this hanging around, sick of sorrow, sick of the pain, sick of hearing again and again that there's gonna be peace on earth.
Catholics, we don't have a lot of holidays, but we've got St. Patrick's Day. And we've got you too. That's who you were just listening to. Peace on earth. So here we are on Rumble here on St. Patrick's Day. I began with 1 minute and 41 seconds of Catholic children crying for their parents. You may remember the audio recording from June of 2018, where the Trump administration was in the process of snatching children from their parents' arms at the border, taking them away, sending their parents back across the border, but keeping the children, and then sending the children to far-flung places all across this country. Thousands of babies and children sent to various care facilities, foster homes, prisons. I mean, it's just, you remember this. But it's not in the past, because before Trump left, they basically still had 600 children in this country who had not seen their parents in almost 3 years. The Trump administration admitted that they didn't know where to find the parents because they were sent back to various Latin American countries. The Trump administration also could not even say exactly how many children they were holding still 3 years later in this country, or where they all were. So if they wanted to find the parents and make a match them back up, get them back, get the parents back, get the kid to wherever in Central America, couldn't happen. As soon as Biden became president, he made this a priority to find the parents or help the parents find the children. And in 50 some days, they were able to make a match with about 100 of these children with their parents and locating them. But that still meant that there were over 500 children, babies, toddlers, still here in this country. Nobody can still give all the names. They don't know all the names. They don't know where they're all at. And they didn't give a shit. The people who ran this country for the last 4 years. So you have all these Catholic children. I did an episode back in October, episode 130, called Trump Hates Catholics. Talking about not just this, but what, the shithole, what he referred to as the shithole countries. And it just kind of struck me one day back when he first said that. These are all Catholic countries. Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador. That's in Central America. Then Haiti was another one of his shithole countries. That's a Catholic country, but with the French influence. Cuba still is in many ways. But this past weekend, at the end of last week, where they started talking about how more and more what they called, a variety of names, migrants, illegal aliens, unaccompanied migrants, unaccompanied children. And the Republicans and the media were really working very hard trying to make this a problem that Biden had caused. And in fact, yesterday, a group of congressmen went down to the border. They want to highlight the fact that Biden has somehow told all of Central America, welcome, just come on in. And they've got a name for it now, the Biden border problem. And I just saw George Stephanopoulos grilling Biden about why does all of Central America think that he's told them to come on up. Wow. Oh, we're so cruel. A nation of immigrants. We are a nation of immigrants, my friends. And the ones whose people weren't here because they were immigrants, they were here because their ancestors were slaves, or they were the first people, the native people that were here. That's the mix of this country. And for the life of me, I don't like any of these terms. They're so dehumanizing. Illegals, migrants, unaccompanied children. I want all those words replaced with the word Catholic or Catholics from now on. That's what they are. That's who they are. That's their humanity. That's their beliefs. That's their upbringing. The vast majority of people who live in those countries that I mentioned in Central America are Catholics. They're baptized Catholics. Why doesn't the media use that word? It'd really mess things up, wouldn't it? Unaccompanied Catholics. 4,200 Catholic children at the border. 500 Catholic children who were snatched by Trump's border patrol. Still separated from their parents. Still don't know where their parents are. Hundreds of Catholic children. I want to know why the press doesn't use that word. It's true. I know. I bring these ideas up. I remember after 9/11 saying why, they were in such a focus on Muslims and the Bin Laden and the Muslims and they were the danger and all that. And I asked at the time, why are you focusing on the religion? See, they don't say the religion now with Catholics because it would humanize the whole thing. Thousands of Catholics stranded at the border. Thousands of Catholics starving at the border. Thousands of Catholic children being held in detention facilities. Illegal Catholics have entered the country. They're never going to say that, are they? But with Bin Laden, they were all over the Muslim thing. Muslims, here to kill us. And I just asked a simple question at the time. I forgot what show I was on. I said, why do you keep referring to him as a Muslim? I mean, I know it's true, but what's the point of that? Because isn't it really a better description? Multi-millionaire Osama bin Laden kills 3,000 people? Wouldn't that have been there's nothing, did I say? No, nothing wrong with that statement, is there? No, factually correct. Yeah. multimillionaire attacks World Trade Center in Pentagon. Well, we don't want to say that because come on, don't make this a class thing. And plus, our multimillionaires, we've got to protect them. We don't want people thinking that multimillionaire. Why would a multimillionaire want to kill so many thousands of people? Why would a multimillionaire attack the United States? I just kept saying it at the time. Whenever there was a reference to bin Laden, anytime somebody wanted to say he was a Muslim, I said, you mean he's a multimillionaire? Osama bin Laden killed all these people. Because isn't that really what multimillionaires do? Historically, these are Catholic children. This is our Catholic holiday, holy day, St. Patrick's Day. And so I guess I'd like to say to the Catholic Church right now, today, tonight, where the fuck are you? Thousands of Catholic children. They're back to putting them in these detention centers because they don't have anything. I mean, Biden, hasn't even been president 2 months. So they haven't been able to put it together yet. So they're using the old Trump facilities. And you could tell he was talking about it there on TV today. Does not feel good about this. And he's going to have to fix this. And the Republicans are trying to make some sort of hay out of Biden is a threat to our country because Biden has sent the secret coded message out to his fellow Catholics in Central America. Come on up. Right? Man, my friends, we have to fix this problem. It's fixable. And to many of you, not those of you who are descendants of slaves or the native peoples of this land, but everybody else, man, you, me, we got here because our people, grandparents, great-grandparents, great-great-great-grandparents, they got here by hook or crook. They figured it out. They came in whatever way they could with whatever or little money they had. They changed their name or had their name changed for them. And they did whatever they had to do once they got here to survive because there was no safety net. There was a report today that many of these 4,200 children now that have come across the border in recent days or weeks, they said that many of them have relatives here. They know where their relatives are in the United States, the ones that are here. And the ones that are here legally, why not just let the relatives, let them go to their aunts or their uncles or their cousins or whatever. Let's make this happen. Yes, I understand. We don't want chaos. We don't want people coming up and then finding that they're stuck there in Tijuana or wherever. And then they're in those tents and life is miserable. I mean, it's pointed out to Biden why we've got to get on the fast track with this. Just like we have to do with so many other problems. We can't wait. Why are we discussing the 60 vote majority that we need to get anything passed in the Senate? This is the week right now, Biden and Harris, they've been traveling the country this week to let people know everything that's in this bill that got passed, this bill that had the support of 76% of the American people. Especially the child tax credit. This is again one of the great things about Biden and where his heart and where his values are. That this very thing, this $3,600 per child tax credit on average, it's so much for those. There's an exact number for babies up to I think like 6 years old and then 6 to 17 years old. But it's such a good and decent amount of money that the government is going to make sure parents of children get this money. And the media today, yesterday, they're all focused on how are we going to pay for all, oh my God, he's going to raise taxes. And they always say that term, raise taxes. The Republicans are all on Biden's going to raise taxes. They never finish the sentence. Because if they finish the sentence, the majority of the American people would completely agree with the complete sentence, which is Biden is going to raise taxes on the rich. On the rich. He's made this clear when he was campaigning. They've been talking about it. I think they've even said if you make under $400,000 a year, your taxes will stay the same. Like, he's really worried about those people that are making the $300,000. No, you're making $300,000. No tax hike for you. You have to make over $400,000 for the upcoming tax hike. That now the press and the Republicans are trying to get them to get nervous about this because you can't say tax hike in the United States of America. But he said it. They're saying it. They're going to do it, rich people. The taxes are going up because we got a lot of things to pay for. Not just making sure that our children are okay. Not just making sure that we have an immigration policy that is decent and humane and based on love. Christians. Catholics. When talking about this child tax credit and the other resources of money that's being given to American people in need, you've probably heard many people say that this is going to reduce child poverty. It's going to cut it in half. The American Rescue Act here is going to cut child poverty in half. And when you hear that, oh my God, it sounds great, doesn't it? But just step back from that statement a couple feet. Think about it. We're cutting child poverty in half. Woo! Yeah! No. What you're saying is you're going to leave half of the children in poverty. No, Mike, baby steps here. You got to just, hey, if we can get it cut in half, that's a good thing. No. I mean, yes, for the 50% who are taken out of poverty, but we're the United States of America. You can't leave half the kids in poverty and think that that's a great day. No, you got to take it. Step at a time. Really? Do you think Abraham Lincoln would have uttered this statement? Hey, I freed half the slaves. Whew, how weird would that sound? I don't know why everybody's upset. Half the slaves are free now. Well, then that means the other half aren't. That's not a victory. You got to free all the slaves. That's what the Emancipation Proclamation did. It freed all the slaves, or at least on paper it said it. It happened in, I think, 1863. There's a couple more years left of the Civil War. The war is won. The 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments to the Constitution are passed, and you know the whole story after this. I mean, yes. Legally, slavery ends for all slavery. All slavery is constitutionally prohibited. There was no amendment that said, as a compromise with the South, half the slaves will be free, and then they can keep the other half. What if the suffragettes, they finally got women to vote, but they had to explain, well, not entirely, but half the women can now vote. Half the women. We've cut the non-voting population of women in half. Just like we are cutting the children in poverty in half. Nobody would have gone woohoo if they had to announce that, okay, women of America, half of you are going to get to vote. Oh, the other half of you, we'll get there, baby steps. Moderation, folks, moderation. And we had to get past what we could get past. Half of anything when it comes to things like this is the same as all. All. That is nothing. All is nothing. If half the slave population still existed, then that means we're a slave nation. If half the women couldn't vote, that means women don't have the vote. If our public school laws that guarantee a public education to every child, all of a sudden we said we just don't have the money for this anymore, but we will definitely put half the kids through public education. Nobody would even say that. And nobody would think that that was a victory. Why do we think that it's a victory when we're able to say half of child poverty is ending right now thanks to the new law that has been passed? No. In fact, I'm glad they've said it because in a way, it's a reminder to us how sick this is in this country, that so many millions of children live in poverty. So many millions go hungry every day in the richest country on earth. To say that the richest country on earth can only pull half of its children out of poverty is an admission of our guilt, of our sickness, of our belief that the rich shall be protected, their taxes will be cut. No, my friends, no more celebrating this. Half of children are no longer going to live in poverty. Not good enough. And it's not a step in the right direction. It's the wrong thing to do. I want all children out of poverty. We have the money to do it. We have the bureaucracy to make it happen. This is not something we don't have to invent. Something we don't have to come up with a new vaccine. We don't have to land a man on Jupiter. We just have to pull all children out of poverty right now. Fuck the Republicans. Stop listening to them. They have nothing to do with what the majority of this country wants. The people have spoken. The Electoral College vote was 306 to 232. Over 7 million more Americans voted for Joe Biden over Donald Trump. We are the majority. We are the majority. Why are we still even listening to people who voted on the night of the terrorist attack on the Capitol, Trump supporting terrorists, and hours later, the Republicans go in there and vote, 147 of them, to not count the votes of the people of Arizona and Georgia, trying to turn the election so that Trump would be declared president. It was an act of sedition and treason. And the fact that the press bothers to want to hear what the Republicans are saying about whether it's immigration or anything else right now, we have work to do. We don't have time to play with them, and we don't have time to follow Mitch McConnell's rules. 51 votes is all that's needed in the Senate. The Democrats have 50 of those, and then the Vice President, Harris, has the 51st vote. And to any Democrat that's thinking of joining with the Republicans on this, we will remove your ass from the Senate in the next election in such a profound way. If you don't think that that's true, I will send you a videotape of Senator Perdue from Georgia and the great Kelly Loeffler, former senator from Georgia. That's where you're ending up, Democrats who aren't with the American people who elected Democrats to run this country. The vast, vast majority of our fellow Americans not only voted for Democrats, they wanted Democrats in the White House, they wanted Democrats in the Senate, and they wanted Democrats in the House of Representatives. And they want the Democrats to run the country. And in fact, they've been wanting Democrats to run the country for practically over 30 years. I'll repeat the statistic again. Only once since George H.W. Bush was elected president in 1988, only once has a Republican candidate for president won the popular vote, meaning won the majority of the votes of the American people, and that was in 2004 with W, and that was by only 150,000 votes. One state, Ohio, that's it. Got by with the skin of his teeth. This is why they're so worried. This is why they need the voter suppression and the gerrymandering and all this other stuff and all these new laws they're trying to pass, because they know the American people no longer want them, no longer believe in them. The American people no longer believe in the things they believe in. Well, do they believe in anything anymore? Because at the Republican convention last summer, they decided not to have a platform. They were not going to write up a piece of paper to say what they were running on and what they believed in. No platform, Trump declared. No platform. We're not going to run on anything. The American people believe by a large margin in all the things that the Democrats believe in. Look at any poll. The majority of Americans, you've heard me say this. I'll say it again. I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. The majority of Americans believe women should be paid the same as men. The majority of Americans believe the climate crisis is real. The majority of Americans believe the minimum wage should not be $7.25 an hour. The majority of Americans believe we should have a government-sponsored, government-backed health care system. The majority of Americans, just go down the list. They want gun control. They take the Democratic position, the American people, and then they vote for Democrats. And yet it's just a 50-50 Senate. The Republicans know their goose is cooked. They're done. They're over. Put a fork in them. The American people don't want them running the show. They don't want them passing bills or holding up bills. They want them to go away. The Republicans know this, and they don't want to go away. Okay, so don't go away. Stay there. But remember, you don't have the votes. We have 51 votes in the Senate. So get out of the way. Because we need these things passed right now. We need these immigration bills passed. We need H.R. 1. We're going to do an episode on this. This important bill that got passed here a week or two ago to protect our elections, to protect our democracy, to stop every nasty thing that Trump and the Republicans tried to do to overthrow this country. It passed the House. It's got to pass the Senate. No, it doesn't need 60 votes. The majority of votes, when you have 100 people in the room, the majority is called 50 plus 1, or 51 if you can't add that. 51, and we have 51 between the Senate and the Vice President. That's it. I'm sick and tired of this. I know you're sick and tired of it. And we're gonna work on this podcast. We're gonna work to get rid of the filibuster. We're gonna work to get H.R. 1 passed. We are the majority. And they are trying to stop the will of the people in our Senate. And that means they have to be stopped. And that means the Democrats have to have the courage to do it. And Joe Biden, I know he loves the U.S. Senate. He was there for, 100 and some years. But this is not what the filibuster originally was supposed to do. And if they want to go back to the old filibuster, the one I grew up with, I don't have a problem with that. What that means is the filibuster allows someone who's in the minority and in the opposition, so in this case it would be a Republican, a senator can stand up and start talking and hold the floor for as long as he or she can hold it. And when they can no longer hold it, whether they got to go to the bathroom, they're hungry, they're tired, whatever it is, sometimes they used to just keel over, and then the vote could be held, and the majority rule. The majority gets to have their say. That's the way it should be. So, yes, let them keep the filibuster, but the rule has to be the old rule that it was meant to, where, yes, one senator can hold the floor. Somebody who feels passionately about something. They're trying to get the American people to wait. Don't pass this bill. Don't pass this bill. There, okay, you got the microphone. Keep it for as long as you can. Most of the time, after a few hours, or certainly a day, but there are examples in our history where the filibuster would last for a month. Okay, that sucks. But I'm telling you, after a month, they can't keep it going. They were human beings. This has to stop. This has to stop. I'm not going to tolerate this anymore, and I'm all set for primarying any Democrat who is trying to block the Democratic Senate, House, and White House that the American people just elected from doing the job that we have sent them to Washington to do. And we will talk on future episodes here of what we're going to do a year from this November of 2022, to remove even more Republicans from the United States Senate, to remove them from the House of Representatives. We will do everything and anything we can in the meantime to stop these laws from being passed in state by state, to create voter suppression, to stop black and brown people from voting. That is exactly what this is about. It's racism. It's white supremacy. And we have to do this, my friends. I know you're with me on this. It's not good enough just to get rid of half the Republicans. Sorry. As far as I'm concerned, they all got to go. I should say I need to calm down about this, but I'm not going to get calm about it, and I don't want you to get calm about it either. So why don't we just take a break here, and let me take a minute to thank our wonderful underwriter for this episode of Rumble, and that underwriter is SignalWire. They're the video communication technology that I've talked about before. It's designed by some brilliant software developers who just happen to be from Michigan. I'm just saying, But seriously, folks, if you work on a remote team, like many of us are doing, you know that it is a struggle to keep everybody connected and focused and productive, or to build any kind of decent culture online when you only see your team, during the formal, scheduled, awkward video meetings. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Well, SignalWire is different. SignalWire features always available video rooms, and it enables quick, informal, unscheduled interactions when you need to feel connected to your workmates. That's what a lot of teams, whether they're at work or school or they're part of an organization, that's what they're losing while working remotely. And what SignalWire can help them get back, can help you, that feeling of connectiveness and camaraderie with your team. SignalWire has superior audio and video quality. It just feels like a more natural and engaging experience, making it a great tool for TV and movie people doing remote production work. And it's great for live events. I just saw that the American Cancer Society actually beat their fundraising goal recently by 10% with an event hosted on SignalWire. So I was really happy when these good folks from Owasso, Michigan, reached out to support Rumble, and I hope you can check them out. So go to signalwire.com, Signal, just like it's spelled, SignalWire, all one word, signalwire.com, and use the code MORE, that's my name, MOORE, for a free 30-day trial of SignalWire. Okay, you got that? Support them. They're supporting this episode. Signalwire.com, and remember to use the code MORE, MOORE, signalwire.com. Thank you for supporting me and supporting this podcast. I do want to thank President Biden. I know, a lot of us on the left and progressive people, whatever, critical, rightly so, of many things that we need to stay on him. We need to stay on these Democrats. They won't always necessarily do the right thing without the pressure from the public, the public. So we have to do that. It's necessary. On some level, I think they expect it. In fact, they're going to be shocked if we all go silent. So that's the worst thing to do. But I think something's happening here. I've mentioned that my observation, and you know me, I can be pretty critical of the powers that be and how they've made life so miserable for so many millions of people, not just in this country, but around the world. It seems like I've spent most of my adult life fighting these people, whether they're Republicans or Democrats or, the corporate elites, Wall Street. The list is long. What they've gotten away with is murder, literally murder. And I know for a lot of people, it feels like sometimes, what's the use? We never win. But we can't really say that right now. And it's not that, we didn't win because Bernie didn't make it through the primaries, or, we didn't get the minimum wage increase as part of this bill. No, of course, we will always lose. Isn't that a given? But we're losing less right now, and we're getting more. In an upcoming podcast, I want to talk about this with some people because this conversation is taking place right now about what is really going on with Biden. Because when he was running, he talked a very kind of middle of the road, sometimes conservative Democratic line. And in these first weeks, that's all it's been of his presidency. It's been one progressive or mostly progressive action after another. What do we do with that? Now, I know a number of my friends and people who share my values and share my politics, they don't want to acknowledge anything good is going on. I understand that. But to ignore it when it is happening, to not embrace what happened in Georgia, that's a mistake. And, we're never going to convince people to get with us and fight for these things if it just looks like all we are people who lose over and over and over again. There's some winning going on right now. And there are people that should be celebrating, should have a happier look on their face. I know it's hard because there's so much bad that's going on and the fact that we're in the middle of this pandemic still. But my friends, I'd rather sort of take this by the horns. You know what I mean? Take the good that has happened. What happened in Georgia? What happened when we got rid of Trump? What happened with getting this bill passed? And let's go for it. Like, okay, I didn't want to jump in that car, my favorite car. But that was the car that was ahead, and it was getting us most of what we wanted to get right now. I want people to live. That's my first priority. That's yours too, right? We want to get through this pandemic. He said he'd put 100 million shots in people's arms by the end of his first 100 days. I don't even think we're at 60 days yet. And he's way beyond that, way beyond 100 million shots. We're going to get everybody vaccinated. He said that. He said that May 1 now, you should be able to have your appointment made by May 1. And sometime in May, get vaccinated. Some states are already lowering the age. It's been lowered to 55, 45. Some states, it's all ages right now. I think Mississippi and Alaska. Good. Let's get as many people vaccinated as quickly as possible. That's the best insurance against these new mutations, these variants, as they call them. This guy, man, he's made this a priority, and he's kicking the kind of ass that we need kicked to get this done. So this is a good thing. That less people are going to die is a good thing. Well, Mike, we killed half as many people as we thought we were going to kill by summer. No, that's not a good thing. Half is not good. Half is bad. All should live. Let's get it as close to all as we can. So stay with me here on Rumble in the coming weeks, and let's get the job done that needs to get done. Let's wall off these Republicans. They have no right to have any say about anything. I mean, okay, they're elected, so they'll have their say. But they tried to overthrow this country, and I'll never forget that, and you shouldn't either. And we should be working right now on who we're going to get elected, not just to the U.S. Senate next year, but in all our local elections, state legislatures, state senates, all of that. I am fully committed to this, and I need to feel that you are too. I think you are. I hear from you. Thank you for writing to me. Thank you for the voicemails that you leave on this podcast page. And I don't want to have the argument about Biden as to whether he's progressive enough right now. I want to try to grab as many good things as we can right now. And then we'll deal with things later. But for right now, when he invited Bernie to the Rose Garden last week, when they had their little victory lap that they took after the bill passed and was signed, I thought that was very cool. And he gave him a shout out. And he thanked Bernie for helping guide the way, because there's so much in that bill that if we keep doing what's in that bill and if we make it permanent, the social policies that many of us support, this is what possibly is going to lead us having health care for all. This is what's going to lead to all children being out of poverty. We can look forward to better days if we're willing to join together to do this. And we may have to make allies with people that are not necessarily us. We'll never take our eyes off the ball of the things that we know have to happen to make this a decent country and to have us as Americans participate as decent people on this planet. I happen to think we're on our way there. That's not Pollyanna talking. That's not some kind of false hope or optimism. I have none of that in me. But I'm for trying to make sure that as many of our fellow Americans get to live to see the summer and the fall. And Republicans are taking every opportunity they can to stop that from happening. What political party has as their message, we're trying to kill as many Americans as possible, and think that they're going to stay in office? We don't want a one-party country. Something will rise up, and it'll be maybe more than one other party to try to meet the needs of as many Americans as possible. But this thing that we've got now, done. And we have to fight to make sure that it's done. It's over. They are not to control the U.S. Senate. The American people have spoken, and I've spoken. Thank you for listening. Happy St. Patrick's Day. This is Rumble, and I'm a recovering Catholic. I'm Michael Moore. Let's take care of these children.